There is a clear shift in mood around Sheffield Wednesday, and it has little to do with events on the pitch. As May 1 approaches, the atmosphere has moved from resignation to cautious optimism. After a season defined by instability, the real developments are happening behind the scenes. David Storch, the English Football League, and representatives of Dafon Chansiri are progressing toward a resolution. According to Joe Cran, confidence has increased in recent days, with tangible progress reported across negotiations. The possibility of a takeover being finalised before the final match against West Bromwich Albion has transformed that fixture into something more symbolic than competitive. For many supporters, the result is secondary. The focus is on transition, the moment ownership changes and a new phase begins. In that context, relegation begins to feel less like an end and more like a reset point. However, before any agreement is completed, Storch must pass the EFL's owners and directors test. This is a detailed process assessing financial credibility, governance, and long-term sustainability. It represents both a barrier and a necessary validation of the project. Encouragingly, Chansiri's recent willingness to engage in discussions marks a shift from earlier tensions. That change has helped accelerate negotiations and reduce the likelihood of late complications. Storch has been clear in his approach, positioning himself not as a passive investor, but as an active figure aiming to stabilize operations and rebuild trust. The emphasis is on structural repair as much as ownership change. Even if the deal is completed on time, the challenges ahead remain significant. League One introduces a different economic framework, including a wage cap for the 2026-27 season. That limits immediate flexibility at a point where rebuilding would typically require aggressive investment. Timing is another issue. A May completion leaves little room for strategic planning. Recruitment processes across rival clubs are already underway, creating a compressed window for decision-making. This increases the risk of reactive transfers rather than a fully aligned long-term strategy. Entering a new season underprepared is a realistic concern. The success of the project will depend on how effectively Storch's group can manage these constraints. Rebuilding in League One requires precision, not just funding. It involves identifying value, establishing a clear football identity, and building infrastructure that supports sustainable progress. The match against West Brom now carries added significance. It represents more than the end of a season. It may become the starting point of a new phase. Supporters are responding to that possibility, with strong demand for tickets reflecting anticipation rather than certainty. Optimism is growing, but expectations are being recalibrated. A gradual rebuild, rather than immediate success, appears the more realistic path. So the key questions remain. If the takeover is confirmed before that final fixture, does it outweigh everything that has happened on the pitch this season? Or do the structural challenges of League One, including financial limits and time constraints, temper that optimism? And perhaps most importantly, are supporters prepared for a process where progress is measured in stability before results?